Hi, I'm Jennifer Cabrera. I am with the law firm of Vicente Cedarberg. I'm an attorney in our New York and New Jersey offices. And I am joined today by Ivelise Rivera, who is with the company Urban Legends and Westra. Hi, Ivelise. Great to have you.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
So you have a few companies. Well, you have a few projects going on in Massachusetts, right?
Yes, I do. Our company has one dispensary open in Athol, which is in Central Mass, and we are completing construction on our second store in Cambridge. So that one will go online hopefully by the end of the year, beginning of next year. And then we're working on a Somerville store and possibly a Newton store.
Oh, that's super exciting.
It is.
Got a big footprint.
We're trying.
Cool. So these are all the Boston Garden, right?
Yes, our company Nuestra, our partnership, I'm in partnership with another company. My company is Urban Legends of Boston, and that's myself and my oldest daughter. And we partnered with Jonathan Tucker and his company, and we formed Nuestra, and we are doing business as the Boston Garden. That's the name of our dispensaries.
Wonderful. That's really cool. You have a partnership with your daughter. That would be exactly what I would want to do.
It is. I mean, it does have its challenges because, she has to remind me, Mom, no business at dinner. Because, sometimes I want to talk business all the time. And she's like, no. She sets very good boundaries, which works.
Good. That's how family businesses are, right? It's just, you never turn off, do you?
Right. It's like we're in the same house and, same business. And so I want to bring up stuff all the time. But she's very good about her boundaries and awesome. Setting boundaries for me.
That's good. Yeah, my family always had small businesses. I think I don't know. It feels like it's more of a cultural thing for Latinos in the U.S. Like having like a family business and everybody works on it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Because my youngest daughter, who wasn't old enough to join us in this venture, at the time we started, she wasn't 21 yet. And so now she's like, okay, so how do I get in? And she wants to talk business, and she's like, let's start a business with me. And so it's like, okay, trying to keep it all in the family.
Yeah, no, I get it though. That's how you build generational wealth, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. That was the goal from the start.
So so tell me, you grew up in Boston, but you're originally from New York. I have to get that in
there. Oh no. Yes, I was born in Brooklyn. That's where my mother migrated to from the Dominican Republic. And so I was born there. And then she had me and my sister. She already had my older sister who was in DR. And, the typical immigrant family, she had to leave her to come and then petition for her. So in that meantime, she's like, I think New York is a little much. And so a lot of her friends had moved to Providence and Boston, and they're like, move up here. It's a lot better. The more jobs. And so she migrated here when I was 5, and I've been here on and off pretty much ever since.
Yeah, that's the story. Oh, yeah. When my my grandparents migrated from Cuba with their 4 kids, like they first went to Denver and they're like, what is this snow? Like, what is this place?
Uh-huh.
No one speaks Spanish.
Yep.
And then they got a Greyhound out to New York, and
yeah,
like, this is more our scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my mom was like, yeah, New York was a lot, it's so fast, and she was here pretty much by herself, and she was like, I can't do this, and 2 kids and then bring a third, and then I can't do this.
Oh my God, that must have been so incredibly difficult for her.
I mean, I don't know how she did it, honestly, because then she moved to Boston, and Boston in the 70s was not the nicest place to be for a person of color. But, she somehow found a community here, and, she made it work. And we've been here pretty much ever since. We never left, other than going on vacation to DR. But, that kind of stuff. But, I think it's such an immigrant story. Like, you find community, and that's your home, because that's what community is.
Yeah, absolutely. You find people who have going through the same experience as you, and it's true. It was like much less hospitable place.
Yeah,
I'm guessing this was what, in the 70s when she.
Yeah, it was 75. She moved to Boston in 75. It was like right at the fussing.
Oh God,
the fussing stuff here. So there was a lot. I mean, I'm sure she. I think a lot of times the Latino community wasn't that big, so they kind of insulated themselves a little bit, and survived it.
If you don't mind me asking, what kind of work was your mom doing when she came to Boston?
She was in housekeeping. She worked at a couple of the hospitals. She did mostly housekeeping. It was usually mornings, but like when we left for school, she was on her way to work. When we got back, she was getting back. She had like the 7 to 3 shift for most of the time. And then she switched to a factory job that was when we were a little older, because it paid more money. The hours were in the evening, but we were old enough to stay home after work. I mean, after school. And take care of ourselves.
Yeah. Understand that. I can imagine that being more predictable also.
Yeah.
Keeping is rough work.
Yep.
My grandmother, I don't think I mentioned this to you. She was a pretty impressive lady. She was a lawyer in Cuba, sort of worked her way through law school. And then when they migrated to the US, it was kind of devastating because she couldn't be a lawyer anymore. And she just did whatever jobs she could find. And she was able to get herself a job eventually as a bookkeeper. But I always had this sense from her, because she said it pretty blatantly. This has been a disaster for me. Yeah. I know it was very frustrating for her, because everything she'd worked for, nope, it's gone.
Exactly. Oh yeah, no, I commend people who do that so much, because I've met a lot of folks who got here and were, lawyers, architects, doctors, and they come here and it's like, oh my God, they're cleaning, offices because they couldn't do anything else. So they're cleaning offices, and, I've had my gamut of jobs. So I've met people from all walks of life, and, I'm so impressed by them. And, they're like, hey, I got to do this for my family, and, I que echar pa'lante, and that's the motto. And I'm like, I have so much respect.
It is. It's all about making things better for your kids.
Yes.
And, just the sacrifice. I mean, it's just heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
I have a cousin that just immigrated from Cuba because the financial crisis become pretty bad there. right now.
Yeah.
She's a doctor, and she had been like trying to make it work for a while, and she ended up going through Panama, through Mexico, and she's looking for work now in Las Vegas. She managed to get over, and like I just think of, it is not nice to be an undocumented worker in this country. Like
No.
I can't imagine how hard that is, but in her mind, it was better than where she was.
Yes. Oh yeah, I can see that. And it's funny because it's not a story that is really changing. It's like this is just a new iteration of people who have to leave their lives behind to make a better life somewhere else, and the struggles and the hard work. I mean, I think these people deserve all of the credit and all the praise. It's like, wow, I don't know if I could do it. I'm sure put in the situation, we say that, but I'm sure put in a situation as, parents, we do whatever needs to get done. But I don't know, that's tough.
The psychological toll is what I think about. Like, I work hard, and I pretty much, I would not work this hard if I didn't have kids. I think I'm pretty clear about that. But like, I don't know, like the fact that like I've had all of the benefits of the sacrifices that my parents and grandparents made so that I can be a lawyer, and you're treated a certain way if you are a lawyer and you're educated. Like, then if you go to the bottom of the ladder, you're not treated that way anymore. And I think that's part of the immigrant experience that people don't always understand is that loss of standing.
Yes.
Is very
you become invisible.
Yeah.
You're like literally invisible. I mean, it's just incredible. And then, these people are so resilient. It's like amazes me. I don't know how they really get through it with the mental, the physical toll. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Well, turning our attention to to less depressing and more to the cannabis industry. So you formed your company with your daughter, Urban Legends, right?
Yes.
What made you decide to enter the cannabis industry? And let me back up even. What were you doing before?
Okay. Well, I am still the IT analyst for the city of Austin in their youth and family department, I guess. And I've been doing that for 21 years. So I saw when we were voting, it was on the ballot for legalizing marijuana. And I was like, oh, this is great. I think that, they should do this everywhere. And so we did volunteered for some campaigns, donated to the stuff, and was like, okay, this is great. And then, it passed. They did all the legal things that they needed to do to get it to the point where they formed the commission. And then once the commission was formed and they opened the applications for retail, not retail, what is it? The non-medical, non-medical,
recreational.
Okay. For recreational, that's the word. And so when they opened the applications for recreational, they opened a side application for economic empowerment or social equity application for folks from areas that were disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. And so, that was kind of thrown together because there was a lot of clamor from the community and activists saying, hey, we need to give people a leg up in this industry that have been harmed. And so they did this application. And when I saw in that 2-week period that the application was open, I saw the application. I said, hey, this isn't a bad idea. Let me look at it. Let's just take a look at the application, saw that it was not something very cumbersome. It was fairly easy and straightforward. I consulted with my lawyer and said, hey, is this something that we can do? He said, he happens to be my best friend. So. And so he's like, yeah, this is easy. Let's do this. And so as we were doing the application, I realized that, I would still need my job because, I still needed to have my job, and I needed someone else to kind of work on some, exactly. Some of the, to do some of the work for this company to form a company and take that kind of lead. And so at the time, my daughter was not very happy with her job. And so I asked her, hey, do you want to go into business with me? I know you know more about cannabis than I do. I really, I'm interested in getting into business as a newbie, but I would need your expertise in the cannabis end. She said, oh, this is great. Yeah, let's do this. And so we applied and got approved for the social equity economic empowerment designation.
Did you do that application on your own?
The application, I did it with my friend who happens to be a lawyer, just because I don't doing things like that without knowing what I'm getting into.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just wanted to know if there was any.
But you didn't have a partnership in place at that time.
And I didn't even have my LLC at that moment. I didn't know what part of the industry I wanted to get into, because I'm not wealthy. So I knew that I'd had to get into maybe a lower level entry point in the industry. So my first idea once I formed my LLC was to do delivery. And I thought, delivery is something I can manage. I can definitely get funding for. I can afford that. And while networking and in meeting other folks in the industry, trying to get in the industry in Boston, other folks that were also economic empowerment applicants, I was approached by someone who said, hey, I told him, I said, hey, I'm looking for funding for transportation. And they're like, well, if you do retail, you can find a partner who does the financial backing. And I was like, well, let's explore that. And so got in talks with a few people and almost signed a partnership with an MSO, a multi-state operator that was really predatory. And yes, so that was, we were at the final signing stages when the news broke that they were doing this to all economic empowerment applicants. They were generally, the EEA applicant would have 100% of the company, but they would actually have control. And that's against the Massachusetts legislation.
Yep.
And so when that came out, then that partnership, we already had a location. We already had, an application into the city for the host agreement and all of that. And so we were kind of we were like, well, you know what? Let's try going forward by ourselves and see how we can figure this out. And at the time, one of the folks we were dealing with was VS. And the young lady we were working with said, hey, I know someone who is looking for a partner, and I think you guys would be a great fit. And that's when she introduced us to Jonathan Tucker. And we had our meeting. We explained our business plan and our company ethos to him. He did the same, and our ethos, company ethos aligned. We had a lot of the same ideas of how to give back to the community. And so we ended up partnering, and it's been great. I mean, they're great partners. Um, I think that was just the best stroke of luck that we could have had at that time.
It is, but you know what? Also, it's business savvy, like that you knew. Let me have a lawyer review these
Yes.
documents and see what this actually means for me.
Yes,
that's so important. It's something that I see a lot working in new markets in like New York and New Jersey, because you have these social equity applicants, they get a conditional license, or the people who just applied for the card license in New York, where you have to have a past conviction in New York. And it's a lot of folks that have no prior cannabis experience that are applying. And they're you need money to go into cannabis, as you've rightly pointed out. And you have to be smart about who you partner with, because so many of the opportunities out there, you could really end up getting screwed.
Yes.
So
oh yeah.
I also think it's great that you pointed out that you're still doing your job. You still have your day job.
I do.
In IT. And you now have how many dispensaries open?
We have one that's been open for a year now.
Open for a year. So I just hope
yes.
any, like all 5 people that listen to this recording, this sinks in. That this is not something that like you suddenly overnight are very wealthy.
No, far from it. I mean, it has taken. Let's see. We applied for our LLC as a partnership in 2018. Yes, end of 2018, early 2019, and it has taken. Later. It took 3 years to get our first store open. And that was, of course, during in the middle of the pandemic. And everything is incredibly expensive. If you don't have the right partners with the right funding behind them, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
It has, and like I said, I mean, we have a good partners, but they are by no means wealthy people. They are also, they're just very good at the fundraising end of of the business. So they've managed to secure funding for us, and it's you have to be very patient and really just stick with it, because it's in the end. I know when we come out on the other end, it would all be worth it.
Yeah,
because
you'll have a significant ownership share in a working business. That's actually, I see there's clearly value in that, and that's fantastic. But it's interesting, just like how much uncertainty there is in that process. Like you're not even directly partnered with the people with the money.
No,
you're partnered with the people who raise the money.
Yes,
and that's a challenging process, because you don't always hit it the first time.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons it took so long, because it is very expensive. Construction is expensive. And then you throw on top of all of the security you need for a cannabis and all the regulations, it's even more expensive than just a regular retail. And so, it's at first we were kind of piecemealing it, because they're new to the business. We're new to the business. And so it's more of it was a learning experience for all of us to get that first store open. And, I think now we kind of are in a groove, and we kind of figured out a few things along the way. But it takes a lot of time. And, I can totally see how people would just be like, forget it. This is too hard. I'm not going to do it. But it's like every other business. I mean, I know restaurants don't open overnight and are successful, and you know everything.
Yeah,
You have to be willing to take that risk to get to that other side, and
very true.
I think it's worth
Restaurant
doing.
work is very hard. There's very slim margins for most restaurants.
And exactly, and I compare it to, cannabis at this point. I compare it to that because with the taxes, and then with the
Yeah,
state taxes, and then you throw in the federal taxes, there's a very slim margin
yeah,
until
no,
you get, to a certain point, and laws change and legislation changes in the state level and at the federal level. But for now, it's not like it's a cash cow.
no, it's not. That's and honestly, I think that the one of the biggest things that could change at the federal level that would help small businesses is getting rid of 280E and
Exactly.
allowing operators to take their normal business deductions. Because
Yeah.
I feel like you're the folks that get hurt the hardest by it.
Oh yeah. It's ridiculous. That's all I can say nicely on air.
It's horrible. Well, I know we're coming to the close of our time here. I just wanted to talk because the genesis of this conversation was that
Mhm.
it's Hispanic Heritage Month, which is a weird month that runs from
Yes.
like September 15th to October
August.
15th.
I know, like, couldn't we get like a regular month? Like,
I know, right? Okay, this is random. Do you remember there was an SNL skit from, I don't know, 20 years ago? Because I'm old. Chris Rock is talking about how Black History Month is February, which is the shortest month.
yes.
How, like, you're getting screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have
Yep.
like not even a regular month. So.
Yeah, no, it's like it straddles 2 months, like, and randomly, and it's so random, like the middle of a month. Who thought of that?
I don't know. I don't know where that came from. I also like now that corporations and larger organizations are getting on board, like they're just sort of random pictures of flowers and skulls on everything.
Yeah.
Like we're celebrating Hispanic heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and they're using a lot of the Dia de los Muertos stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's not what that is, but
That's
okay.
not right. It's a bit random, but anyway, that is the genesis of this conversation, and I wanted to just like close on what are some concrete steps that companies can take that would actually help not just Hispanics, but all minorities who are looking to be in this industry.
I think finding an area in the industry that is underserved, five businesses. Some people might not want to start a dispensary or, any flower touching part of the business. But you can get in the business by providing services such as, ATMs. You can do the security systems, the fire systems, the, HVAC, all of these
auxiliary businesses.
Exactly. I mean, are opportunities. And I know for Massachusetts, the focus is to try and get as many 5 companies to be on those lists for, especially for like cannabis companies like ours, which is, minority owned, and we want to make sure we hire not just our staff in the stores, but our vendors to, to spread the wealth. And I think something that, if somebody wants to take a takeaway is you don't have to get the millions of dollars to start a retail store. You can start by having one of the businesses that you become a vendor. And then once one dispensary says, oh, these guys are great, you might, you could lock in a bunch of dispensaries. If I just like find that niche.
Absolutely. So it's not just hiring diverse bud tenders, but all of the auxiliary companies,
Absolutely.
your vendors. And this is something that a lot of regulators care about and they want to see.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And it's and not just bud tenders. I mean, we hire from our general managers all the way down. We try and have as diverse of a staff as we possibly can find. So in-house and out-house and out of the house, basically, just encompass everything. And I think people find it a little daunting to get in the cannabis business in retail or growing or producing. Delivering right now is got its own issues, but there are other ways of getting in.
Absolutely. It's true. There's a lot of work that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today, Ivelise.
Oh, absolutely. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for asking and having me on.
Of course. And I do want to just note at the end of our conversation what a superstar you are, because not only have you built this business while working a full-time job with 2 kids, you also have found time for a lot of service and volunteer work. And I just want to touch on a few of those things, including your, was it 10 years of working with the Red Sox Foundation?
Yes.
Commissioner, right?
Yes. I run their softball league, which is a league that's all across the city of Austin, all the neighborhoods. And it goes from 8 years old to 18-year-old girls. And we have anywhere from, depending on the season, we range from 15 to 20 teams. And each team carries about 15 girls. So that's a large chunk of youth that I work with and coaches. It's a lot of fun. Just, seeing kids playing and having fun. It's not a competitive league by any means. It's more instructional. So it's a lot of fun.
That's good. I look forward to when my kids are older and I can do
it's a lot of fun. They have a great time, they're kids, and when they are enjoying the game, they have so much fun. And it's great to see.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And I just want to say it's an inspiration how much you do.
Thank you. So. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks, everyone for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.